Welcome to Lesson 4.3, Dividing Polynomials Using Long Division, Part 2. So we're just going to do a continuation of what we were doing in the last lesson, but you'll notice instead of two terms here that we're going to divide by, we're going to divide by things that are bigger. So this is essentially a polynomial divided by another polynomial. My process, however, is going to remain exactly the same. I'm still going to write this out using my long division. So I'll write that out, and then I'll divide that into 4x to the fourth. Oh, remember to fill in your gaps for those missing terms that are not there. And now my process is the same. You'll notice it's a lot longer, but my process is going to be the same. I'm still going to ask myself, what times x squared will give me 4x to the fourth? So what times x squared will give me 4x to the fourth? That's 4x squared. And again, just like I did in the last lesson, I'm actually going to take this 4x squared and I'm going to distribute it to all of those terms. So let's see here. So 4x squared times x squared gives me 4x to the fourth. 4x squared times negative 3x is negative 12x to the third. 4x squared times negative 2 is negative 8x squared. And then just like I did, I'm going to remember to subtract. And again, I like to change my signs. That goes away. That will turn into 12x to the third plus 8x squared. And just like I was doing before, I will bring down the next term. Then it's repeating. So what times x squared will give me 12x to the third power? That should be 12x. And I'll multiply that through. I'll distribute that through. So I'll end up with 12x to the third minus 36x squared minus 24x. And again, I'm now going to subtract. I like to change my signs. My 12x to the third minus 12x to the third cancel out. 8 plus 36 is 44, x squared. 5 plus 24 is 29x. And again, I will bring down my next value of negative 4. And I'll continue. So now I'll say what times x squared will give me 44x squared. Man, well, those numbers are getting big, but that's okay. My process remains the same. It's 44. So when I multiply that, I get 44x squared minus 132x minus 88. I'll now turn this into a subtraction. I'll subtract those two things. Change my signs. Those cancel. It turns into 161x plus 84. That's it, I'm done, because there's nothing that I can multiply x squared by to turn it into 161x. So I'm ready to write my answer. And my answer to this problem will be 4x squared plus 12x plus 44 that I'm getting from the top, and then my remainder plus 161x plus 84 over x squared minus 3x minus 2. It's just more for the remainder. Okay, but everything else is going to remain exactly the same. My process doesn't change. Let's take a look at another one. Again, this one's just written in that different form. So we'll take a minute, we'll write it using our division bar. You'll notice I filled in the missing spot with a 0. And now we're just going to go through the same process again. So what times x squared will give me x to the fourth? X squared. And then I'll distribute that x squared to what I'm dividing by. Then I will subtract. Remember to change all of your signs. Now we'll actually do the subtraction. Those cancel. I'm left with x to the third plus x squared. Bring down the next term, minus x. I'll go through the process again. What times x squared will give me x to the third? Hey, that's just an x. I'll distribute. Oops, that should be a minus x squared plus x. I'm going to go through and I'm going to subtract. I like to change my signs. Those cancel. 2x squared minus 2x. Bring down the next term of plus 5. What times x squared will give me 2x squared? Plus 2. Distribute through my 2. Minus 2x plus 2. I'll turn it into a subtraction problem, changing all of my signs. Those cancel. Hey, those cancel. I'm left with just a remainder of 3. So my answer, x squared plus x plus 2 plus 3 over x squared minus x plus 1. How about one more? Okay, so now be careful here. When I'm writing out my division, see how x squared plus, see how there's a missing term in my divisor? I'm going to make sure I fill in all of the missing spots, all of them. That means in both the dividend and the divisor when I have it. Okay, see? Missing the 0x, I put it in there. Missing the regular x there, I filled it in. They are not going to be the same, they just are in this problem. But now my process is exactly the same. Why don't you try this one, just real quick. Find this one, see if you can do it, pause the video fast, see if you can come up with the answer. So what times x squared will turn into an x? It's just regular old x. I multiply that out. Again, I like to keep my middle term, that term there, just to help me keep all my terms lining up the same. I'll end up subtracting. That'll give me 5x squared minus x. I'll bring down the minus 4. And this one's a pretty quick problem. And I'll multiply 5x squared plus 0x plus 5. I'll turn it into a subtraction problem. Cancel. That'll give me negative x minus 9. So my answer is x plus 5 plus negative x minus 9 over x squared plus 1. Okay, we're to that point in the video where you should pause the video and try these two problems out. As always, we'll go over the solutions after you have had an opportunity to practice. So pause the video right now, try these out, and then we'll go over the answers. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this out using my long division format. I will now see what times x squared will give me 4x to the 4th. I'll distribute that 4x squared. I will turn this into a subtraction. I'll subtract and change my signs. I'll bring down my next term. And I'll repeat my process. What times x squared will give me 6x to the 3rd. I will then distribute my 6x. Turn this into a subtraction problem. Changing all of my signs and subtracting. Bring down my next term. And figure out what times x squared will give me 17x squared. And now distributing the 17 through. And subtracting one last time, making sure to change all of my signs. And coming up with my final answer of 4x squared plus 6x plus 17 plus the remainder of 35x plus 25 over x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay, one more to go. And again, I'm going to make sure when I write this out that I fill in all of my missing terms when I write out the long division. Ooh, careful here, as I'm missing not only the x to the 3rd term, but also the x term. They're not next to each other, so be careful. So I'll figure out what times x squared will give me x to the 4th power, and I'll distribute that through, then subtract, making sure I change all of my signs. I will keep the 0x to the 3rd there. Bring down my next value, 0x. Again, I figure out what times x squared will give me 0x squared. That's 0x. You can either write it there or you don't have to. It's up to you. But the next step, if I wrote it out, will be 0x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 0x. When I subtract that, those cancel. I'm not going to get anything different than what I had before. I just bring down the next term. But for consistency purposes, you might as well write it out again. It's not going to hurt anything. Finally, I'll multiply everything by negative 2 there. It's going to be 0x minus 2. Turn that into a subtraction problem. Change all my signs. Those go away. Those were never there to start with. I have my remainder. And my final answer, x squared minus 2 plus 3 over x squared plus 1. All right, folks, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck, and I'll see you in class.